Today was fairly interesting, so I have a lot to note here. I cooked 7 bacon, 2 salmon fillets today for breakfast, and I woke up late today, but I barely had enough time to cook these types of things. I was barely able to cook my breakfast and barely able to cook the two salmon fish that I was going to eat. And in cooking, it's always the oil splatter that has a problem, and obviously I do use grill pans, so it makes it a little bit better. I was barely able to cook, as I said, so I eventually packed, and as I was hurrying on time, I did also prepare my wheat grain pasta. And on the car ride to school, my mom passed a steep road bump and ended up spilling water in the car. It's always annoying, as I say, but one of the rare times I actually do end up spilling like water as we pass like a steep road curve. But in Spanish class, though, I finished the daily diary today. The teacher announced something that put me in a very unique situation. The teacher said that for this part, we cannot use phones, we cannot use PCs, and he says that we have to make up 10 Spanish sentences for our project. But the situation is, I already did the project's online sentences, I already did it online. So the thing is that I can't just do it again, and I didn't write it on paper. So we only have 2 hours before we have to turn this in, and I couldn't write it down or at least remember it in time. So what I did is I had a few options here. I could tell the teacher the project is done and risk having to do something else. Get access to my PC or access somehow, but that could get me in trouble. Or just make up fake sentences and have to redo the entire project online. I would still call this a total deadlock, as I say, because there's a lot of things that could be done here, but it's very risky. And to break this deadlock, I asked if the sentences can be out of order, as I remember, so that once it's on the presentation, the teacher won't exactly see it. That's it. It's in order, but it's the same exact sentences that I've been using. So I remember the verbs that I used, at least online. So I did it this Monday if you guys want to check out the Google Doc. And I could somewhat craft the sentences that I remember, but I had to change about like 3 different ones just to make sure it aligns. And it went mostly fine. I'll change the last sentence on the slide that uses both Spanish and daba and Italian and davo. I improvised this way, and later on, I eventually fixed that on my project online. There isn't really much to note here. Obviously, we did have to go to the teacher to check our sentences, and he did check off our sentences as well. A funny joke regarding the seagull joke that was said last week is that when the teacher said to one of the girls is that when a seagull is in the sea, it can fly. It is literally on the sea, but on the bay, it's a bagel. But the thing is that when a bagel goes into the sea, it's not a seagull because bagels can't fly. Ja 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 ja. Anyways, in science class, my brother subbed today so I really can't take the quiz that I missed on Monday. They did not believe that it was my brother when I told the two girls near me. But the thing is that we had like very simple things to complete, and I was able to do them after. We had to review the primary question assignment that we had before the unit and fix up some things, complete another quiz review, and finish up the story map. Also on the side, Salif mentioned something in pitas in French. I don't know what that is. They're my pitas. They are pitas. Like she is my pita. I have no idea. But they mentioned another cool thing where they put like a Gatorade over one of the girls' heads as their camera was on, as their like their makeup and stuff. It was funny as I saw it. Someone also mentioned ChatGPT issues that were going on and the login. They use Gemini instead, so it's a big thing that I've been hearing. ChatGPT can't really log in if you want more things. And eventually, I finished up that online quiz, another 23-page online assignment also. And my brother didn't really do as much during this period and let us mostly chill and like talk to each other. Some kids nearby were also high testing that I can remember, and I think the teacher wanted to stop them, but he didn't really do much. Eventually, he went back into their seats, and not really much happened here. I was able to finish it up, and even the girl near me that I told is my brother. Well, I don't think she believed me either. But anyways, for lunch, I ate 2 salmon fillets and a small serving of pasta. But it was bland since I cooked it fast this morning, and I wasn't able to like quality. But during lunch, I talked to my partner from history for a little bit, and I talked to a few other people around me, and I did also see a bunch of other old friends who I've talked to before. I saw old groups and other people I've seen, and later on, after eating and after he left, I moved on to the library and I talked to the dance group real quick. But they were also messing around, so the teacher in the library told them to silence because they were too loud. They also joked that they'd have kids together, and even though they're all boys, which is kind of funny at the same time. Then, after that round, told me that he did an assignment that the teacher assigned for his class that was originally due at 8:30 a.m., but it's due at 8:30 p.m. So he did that, and he knows he ain't gonna tell his teacher, so that was pretty funny. But there wasn't really much here. After that, I wanted to talk to another random person in the downstairs library nearby, but they seemed closed off. Like they were working on the computer and had like their headphones on, like what I'm doing right now. And the thing is, I chose to eventually take the social cue, I guess, leave and head down to another random group. And I went back upstairs and I talked to the friend in the library who ate lunch with me, who's also my history partner, who I've said before, who was coincidentally also there. I saw a girl who I've also seen before. She doesn't know me, well, she knows my name now, but and we all had to talk about the friends that we knew, like Rayon, Eli, Levi, and others. She told me that she's seen me before. I told her that I've seen her before. Even the boy that I was also talking to, he said he's also seen me before. And I think it also reaffirms my theory of social plate tectonics because friend groups don't just move around; they're also interconnected. Everyone's a part of it. But anyways, it was a really interesting conversation. Went well. She does sound like an adult, guys, even though she's like my age. But like I swear, she looks like an adult. She sounds like one. I feel like she's an adult who's stuck in a teenager's body. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. That's just how people think differently. Anyways, the boy there too also knew about the people around me, and later on, we all had a nice conversation and left away. And in English, the teacher came in late today. She counted roll call, and obviously, she always silenced the boys. I did not bet any coins today. The students in my row were just kind of chill for most of the time, and we ate candy. And as we were doing our no red ink reviews, Salif was caught using AI, and he defended, saying that he needs help. But the teacher says that he can always ask him for help, so there's no need to use it. At least he caught him like using it on a tab. Funny thing. Anyways, I don't think really much was going on here. Everyone was just busy with most of the time. No punishments were given, as I said. It was just a one-off warning. So, but the teacher who also called in the no red ink assignment scores, she didn't really do anything much, but she did call out like every person who had like a zero and every person who had like perfect scores. A boy tried to say that if anybody had a zero, that she should say it to everyone. And she said, like, you, homeboy, which means he also didn't complete it either. So the class was also laughing too. And for most of this time, we were finishing up our no red ink online assignments. It's always annoying. Later on, I said to Jackson, like, why are you talking? As I whispered to him. But the girl next to me looked back and I was silent. And the teacher was explaining something, I believe, and the teacher also called Jackson out again, which was pretty funny. But anyways, later on, there was your counseling announcements. There are like three different girls who are seniors. They announced that stuff goes on in peer counseling and we should join because of college and that we could also help other people in our community, like ETC. There are also local club connections with Bring Change to Mind, and there's also time commitments that they mention. Is that that's not really as much compared to other ones. And I just realized that ASB and other like school activities do have after school commitments. So I really forgot about that. So I do need to consider that when I'm applying to school positions, as I always say. But in a way, I'm counting on getting rejected if I apply to every single thing in this school because I'll have like 500 different activities on my table. But anyways, they put up two video edits, and like, oh my god, I saw my friend who I was talking to from lunch, and it was mostly activities and what they're doing. I think there's like drawing and painting, I believe. They also collaborated with other clubs, as I said, Best Buddies and that other one. And they also had an announcement that they're also going to be graduating this year. We should kind of like take the torch. Some of us should apply, but I don't think they gave us like the application form or like where to find it. So I'm gonna apply to peer counseling. If anybody's in peer counseling, wish me luck, I guess, if I do apply to it. But anyways, after that point, they left, and it was mostly chill after. We had an essay overview, and the teacher gave me a very quick tutorial on essays that we missed. And about a topic and the gallery assignment that I still have to make up eventually. The boys acted crazy, so the teacher silenced them like time and time again. And later on, the essay was about Eli Weasel and the relationship with his father. After waiting a while, because the teacher was also like going to other people's hands, because everybody's hands was up for questions, I think my statement for the thesis was absolutely gold standard when I showed it to her. It was, although Weasel and his father maintained unity despite being deported to camps, their relationship grew more sided as his father grew weaker. And later on, obviously, the teacher clarified quoting for the essay. For our reading, the amount of times the teacher told the boys to also shush at the same time is also easy again. And she even used the Spanish callete to shush them, not even though they didn't shush after. There are like so many other times I can explain. It was really funny too. On the other side, she also told us that what she learned in kinder and a lot of Spanish colloquialisms such as de color es or Juan y mais. Another colloquialism such as siéntate or callete. And she definitely is very humorous when she said this, so I'm definitely going to leave that today. The would you rather today was ice cream cone or the ice cream bowl. As a teacher was saying that we'll have a 10-minute break because everybody was so quiet today except one person. I meant to say Kyle, but accidentally said Jackson, so he ended up looking at me. And then he made Kyle stare at me for like 2 minutes, and then the girl in front of me said, like, do you like him? I nodded jokingly, and they laughed. So the teacher next silenced the boy, saying that he talks too much, and defending the girls, obviously. It was really funny. I overheard my teacher calling someone that apparently they have like 34 missing assignments, so that's kind of crazy. So whoever they are, whoever she was calling, I don't know, nothing on the phone. But the amount of times that she did tell us phones away is absolutely crazy. And she even shared that other teachers, when their students talk, they just rip up the paper. That's why she also considered this essay writing a test, since we also can't use Chromebooks. She collected these papers one last time, and she said, I'm putting papers away. Nothing special, right? Are you sure nobody wants these papers? Like, my BF kissed it, or like, got anything? Eventually, nobody raised her hands, and she caught it up and closed up shop for the day. And I find it funny because as I was doing like an essay, I literally had to write down things that I found interesting that were going on around me. As I was writing about the events that were happening around me, today's one of those days where I do have to write, significantly surpassing that of the actual essay writing my teacher wants us to write. It's just kind of ironic because so many events compared to an essay that I'm still building, there's like so much. I'm doing like paragraphs of events that's happening around me on paper, a separate paper compared to like simple essay that I'm doing. Now later on, for during dismissal, my mom wasn't coming, so in dismissal, I was in English class and I took the exit straight outside since we were almost right near the door. You just had to walk down the stairs. I have down to know a few friends who I've seen before, and then I made my day walking down to the dismissal platform, but my mom wasn't there, so I walked back and talked to a senior girl and also waved to other people. And it went mostly fine with the senior girl. I saw some of my other older friends and that one person from English class last year. And then after that, my mom was there. Then I left and went to buy like a burrito. Asked my English teacher before class ended to count the coins that I bet on the days before when students were late. She said about $2 full in coins, even though it's a lot of it's pennies. And in my opinion, I think I also just created a legacy because I said no to getting these coins back, and she said that she might keep this jar cup next year to bet personally if students will be late to her period. So it's a legacy because this might last longer than I'm going to stay here in this school in that class. So after I graduate, guys, you got any people going to a class? Just let me know. I was the original coin better. But this time, I was extra hungry today. I bought two burritos, but I always deconstruct the burrito and replace it with other whole flour tortillas, or make it tortilla style and pick the meat off with using tortilla chips, or usually make it into small little tacos. I don't like the flour that they use because it's mostly arid and I think not as healthy as other whole flours. I gave my brother a burrito too, and the reason I always replace it with whole flour is because most flour in burritos lack fiber. It's more of a health thing. And today, in total, I think the Spanish deadlock situation takes the main highlight here because it highlighted two different colliding realities. I was already finished with the project Monday, but the teacher falsely assumed that none of the class has done the project yet, and also said like no AR or phone use. Like I need my phone so I can copy down the sentences. But the thing is I already did the sentences in the project. I just need to refine. But you guys saw it yourselves if you viewed the log on Monday. So what I remember is that I remember the verbs and I don't remember the order. So ask the teacher if it can be out of order because if he does end up questioning if it's out of order during the presentation, I can always show. Presentation I did a little bit differently. So on the presentation questions, I can just say like it was out of order as it always is. And sadly, at the end of class, I forgot to turn in those 10 sentences on the paper that I had to write. In my opinion, it was too noisy, and I'll take the 10% off. To make this meta one last time, cuando estaba en la clase, yo no entregué mi papel porque el ambiente de la clase era muy ruido.